is to approval of hiring Board Attorney Mike Schmidt. Mike is with us tonight, and Mike, if you would, I just maybe take a couple minutes and introduce yourself to the board, if that's okay.
Well, my name's Mike Schmidt. I'm from Paintsville. I've been practicing law for about 40 years all over eastern and central Kentucky. I started doing school board work in 1974 for Johnson County Board of Education, where I'm still a board attorney. In 1995-96, I started representing Kentucky School Board Association, basically over all of eastern and southeastern Kentucky, and school board litigation matters. When the Department of Education took over Floyd County Schools in 1998, they brought me in as the Floyd County Board Attorney, and I've been Floyd County Board Attorney since February of 1998. At present, I represent Floyd, Johnson, Lawrence counties, Perry County Board of Education, and last week the Department of Education hired me to represent the Commissioner and the State Department in Breathitt County as basically they've taken over the Breathitt County Board of Education. So I've been doing this a while, and that's about all I can tell you about education. Generally, I'm a trial lawyer, and I do, other than that, primarily medical and legal malpractice defense and coal and oil and gas work. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do. You've worked with the Mark County School District before in times past, right?
All through, yeah, all that was through Kentucky School Boards.
Okay, like I think the West, were you involved with West Jordan, Wesley Jordan?
Yeah, I tried that case.
Okay, with okay, you represented Mark County in that, and I guess question that I have, could I have you look at a provision of our current contract? Is that all right if you look at it and tell me if you've ever seen this in a superintendent's contract before? I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything like that.
I'd be happy to do it. I've never seen the contract.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah. Well, this is a contract that we have now with the board. This Article 16 there, that is a term of our current contract with the current superintendent.
Well, I've actually seen something similar to that in one other contract. However, I will tell you that there is a statute. It's KRS 160 something. It's after 350. I can find it in a second. Basically, that provides most of these school law statutes are confusing. And if you've read them, nobody knows what they mean. However, there is a statute that says that superintendents are eligible for tenure.
Yes.
And that's always been interpreted to mean that if a superintendent has been in the district at the time he becomes superintendent, that basically he has a vested job. And when his time as superintendent's over, he goes back to a position, and if it was an administrative position, he must go back into some administrative position, not necessarily the one he had.
Okay, the thing I'm asking is the board cannot grant that. The board doesn't have any any power to guarantee that. Is that correct?
Whether it's under that contract or under the statute, once the superintendent's tenure is over, it's not up to the board to reassign him. The new superintendent would reassign him to whatever position was available and he thought he would best serve in.
All right.
But that would be the new superintendent's role.
That would be his role, not the board's.
Not the board's role. That's correct.
All right. Okay, could I ask you just one other question, because I want to make this clear, and I don't mean to imply that, I don't. Okay, it's my understanding as the board attorney is the board attorney. I mean, he advises the board, and he advises the superintendent in his role as the agent of the board. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And during things like this contract, for example.
The attorney would represent the board.
The attorney would
Contract,
represent
not
the board,
superintendent.
not the superintendent. Okay, that's the point that I want to get across.
Well, that's correct.
That's correct.
That's the relationship.
That's the relationship.
The board, essentially, other than the board secretary, really hires the two people it hires will be the superintendent and the board attorney, and the board attorney represents the school district, and the superintendent is the executive agent of the board. But in all other things, the board attorney represents the district and the board in its relationship with the superintendent, and not the superintendent.
All right. I just want to make that clear. All right.
Mr. Smith, I'd like to say something. This is nothing personal. We've never made it,
Sure.
But I'm just kind of concerned the way this was set up. We haven't together as a board discussed any other candidates.
Sure.
There's not even one been brought up. I haven't even been asked to participate really in anything. And it's my concern, that maybe we should have that. Any concerned board should have, more than one to ask questions. And I've talked to people in my district, and they're concerned that, this one was brought to the table. And not saying that you wouldn't, be, but I feel that the board is rushing into something, and I'm very concerned about, after all we've been through, so that was just my take on everything. So.
Do we normally advertise or take applications, is what I mean, for?
Well, we've never done
I
this
mean,
before.
we've got, he's very qualified now, don't get me wrong there.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll find one more qualified.
Right.
Well, I think now that you are representing like the Kentucky School Board Association, you're correct?
No, I've been representing, we've got litigation through the Kentucky School Board's insurance trust, which is now dissolving.
And you've
No,
also
I've never represented. I've spoken and presented seminars to school principals, superintendents, and teachers on behalf of the Kentucky School Board Association. I've spoken at the Kentucky Bar Association convention on educational topics.
Okay.
But it's fine with me. Craig called and asked if I would help you all out through the transitional process or whatever, and I said I would.
I
My feelings won't be hurt.
I
promise
understand
you.
that.
Well,
You sound like you're a very busy man.
I
as
will
it
say
is.
this, that everybody that I've talked to, they highly recommend you as far as attorney. As far as somebody that knows school law. I mean, you can get anybody out here to be an attorney, but as far as someone that knows school laws and like the ins and outs, and like you said, the complexities of all the stuff where the law isn't clear, that you are probably the best in this area. So I will say that. And